guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're talking high-end products. So these are products worth your cash, your dinero, your cha-ching. These are products that if I run out, I will go out and buy it if I already don't have a backup. Like, these are the products that I'm like, I use on a daily and I'm scared of running out because they are so expensive. So let's get into high-end products that I think are worth your money. So I'm gonna start off with foundations. Now, foundation is one of the things that I am so guilty of just hoarding. Like, I love to buy foundation. This video is gonna be super long, so I'm not gonna go into all of my favorite high-end foundations. These are just some that I have repurchased that I just use on a daily and that I absolutely love. But there are some other ones that I've loved that you're probably wondering, like, why isn't she mentioning them? It's that these are the ones that I've been using as of lately. The first one that I wanted to mention is Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This one is in shade 3.5. This one is a classic in my collection. I've repurchased this many times. I love the finish on this one. This one doesn't have maximum coverage. I don't use this for days that I need coverage or when I want to look super duper like caked up. I use this when I just want to look airbrushed, when I want to look flawless, or if I'm having a really good skin day, I go for this one. This one just wears so nicely. I don't find it that luminous on my skin. If I don't set it, it will get dewy, but if I set it, I feel like it just looks like skin. It just looks so pretty, and I'm just a huge fan of Luminous Silk Foundation. If you haven't tried it, check it out. Next up is your Airflash. I love this one. It's an aerosol spray foundation. This one is super pricey, but I do really like it. The shade range, I will say, is horrible. They don't have that many shades in this one, but if you're lucky to find your shade in it, grab it. It is so flawless. I just love this one. This one, even paired with the Armani Luminous Silk, is so pretty. They just wear so nicely. This one will last on me all day unless it's like 100 degrees outside. Then I won't opt for this one, but it does have really good lasting power. But the finish on this one is also just amazing. It just makes me look airbrushed, and I really enjoy it. You do get 2.3 fluid ounces, so for the price, I can justify it. I just love the finish on this one. Next up is Estee Lauder Double Wear. This is probably my most used high-end foundation. I always go back to this one. This is like my ride or die. If you haven't tried this yet, you have to try it. With this foundation, I recommend using a beauty blender, and I just love this one. Like, I just can't get enough of Estee Lauder Double Wear. It's one of those foolproof ones. It lasts all day. Literally, if I'm sweating, the foundation won't budge. Like, the sweat will just be on top of it. It won't mess up the foundation or get weird. Like, I just love this. I pretty much own like 7 shades of this, I believe, because I use this in my kit. You do have to pour it out, which I hate, but you can buy a pump for it. And I don't know, this is just one that I've been loving forever, it feels like, and I always go back to it. And for a while I wasn't using this, and when I used it again, I was like, hello, like, why aren't you using this? And this one isn't extremely expensive like the Dior Airflash or the Armani. Like, this one is a little bit more moderately priced, and you don't need a lot, so it will last you a really long time, and I just recommend this to everyone. I have dry, normal skin. I use this on oily skin. I use this on dry skin. I just love it, and I'm using shade Tawny, and it's just awesome. And the last high-end foundation that I wanted to mention, I actually did a review on this. This one's one of my newer all-time favorite high-end makeup products. This is the Hourglass Vanish foundation. Every time I use this, I'm in love with how my skin looks. It just makes my skin look flawless, photoshopped, airbrushed, like everything that I want. This is like my day-to-day high-end foundation. It's a stick foundation. I have a whole review on it, so I'm not going to talk forever about it. I will link the review on it. I just love how this makes my skin look. Honestly, I look at the pictures and I'm just like, damn, like, your skin looks good. So Hourglass Vanish foundation, bomb. My favorite high-end pressed foundation powder is definitely the Armani Luminous Silk Compact. 4 is obviously my go-to shade. 2 is just a little bit lighter. Sometimes I have to mix both of these. Like, right now I have to mix them. I wish it was a shade 3, but this is such a great powder for dry skin. It is the only pressed powder that won't make me feel cakey, won't make me look cakey. Definitely worth a splurge. I'm so low on 4, and I'm like, oh, I gotta repurchase it, and I'm definitely gonna repurchase it because it's just bomb. I can set my face with this when I'm not wearing that much makeup, or when I really want to cake my face and I don't want to look dry. Like, if I'm having a dry day, just any day, honestly, I just love this. It's super lightweight. If I'm going for super full coverage, I use MAC Studio Fix Powder. By the way, I'm not going to mention any MAC products in here because I've been requested a couple of times to do my favorite MAC products. I don't use this as a powder foundation because it is too lightweight, doesn't provide that much coverage, but to set the entire face, love it. Definitely thumbs up for a setting powder that's not loose. You get me? You get me. Now, speaking of loose powders, definitely Laura Mercier translucent powder and the Secret Brightening powder. Favorite high-end powders. I've tried all the brands you can think of. Givenchy, La Mer, Chanel, like Lancome, YSL. I've tried so many loose powders and nothing comes close to these two. So the translucent one, which is this big one, is awesome for baking. It's awesome for setting the face if you have oily skin, but I just mainly use this for under my eyes. And then the Secret Brightening is just my secret weapon to really brighten underneath the eyes. If I feel like it's just kind of like dull under there, this is like bam, brightness underneath without looking overboard white or cakey or anything like that. This one is so finely milled that you can layer it over this one. So these are definitely my favorite high-end loose powders. They're just awesome. I've repurchased them way too many times, but they're worth the money. Honestly, I get so much use out of them. I carry this when I'm traveling in my kit, personal use, like I just love these. Next up, let's talk about primers. Favorite high-end primers: Benefit Porefessional, Makeup Forever Smoothing Primer, and the Dr.Brandt Pores No More. So all three of these are pore minimizing, kind of just like smoothing primers. I love all three depending on my mood. The Dr.Brandt one is a little bit more mattifying and has a scent to it. The Makeup Forever is just a great pore minimizing primer, and then the Benefit one I like because it's very smoothing and it also fills in your pores, but it's very lightweight. The Makeup Forever one slightly wins because it's the one that fills in my pores the most, but I still love all three and I use these on a daily basis and I just love them. So awesome stuff. If you're looking for pore minimizing primers, here you go. Best of the best, and trust me, I've tried tons. I do also love the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer, but I figured I would mention these because they're pore minimizing and I feel like everyone can use a little pore minimizing in their life, so love them. Bronzer is so tricky, but I just love bronzer. You guys know I'm obsessed with bronzer. Bobbi Brown Golden Light, one of my favorite bronzing powders. It's great for contouring, it's great for bronzing if you're on the fair side. I just love this. It's a flat, matte, kind of cool toned, but it's not too cool toned powder. You can use it to bronze and you can use it to contour, which I like. Sometimes powders are just too cool toned to bronze up the temples. This one isn't. It's right in the middle and I love it. So Golden Light, it's one of my all-time favorite bronzers. I've repurchased this and if I hit complete pan, it's because it's good. Next up is the Guerlain Terracotta bronzer. This one is in shade 07. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Guerlain makes one of the best bronzers. If you have a medium to dark or deep skin tone, check out Guerlain for their bronzers because I feel like they go pretty dark and a lot of bronzers these days just don't. So I really appreciate that. I have, I think, 4 of them. They're expensive, but they're worth it. I do like the 4 Seasons one, but this one is just so awesome. It's shade 07. You can use this if you're dark. You can use this if you're light. You just have to use a really light hand because they are pigmented. They're just creamy and delicious. And I love that this one's matte, so you can use it to contour, especially if you have deep skin. Try this for contouring the cheekbones. I saw Makeup by Shayla use this one, 07. It looks so good on her cheeks. It's a little more forgiving when I'm a little more tan. Like if I use this right now, I do have to use a good bronzing brush, but nonetheless, I love this stuff. Next up are these Hourglass bronzers. I have both. So this one is Luminous Bronze Light, and then this one is Radiant Bronze Light. I do like Radiant Bronze Light a little more because it's a little darker and deeper. These bronzers make you look like you are just coming back from a 3-4 week vacation. Like the bronze in this is serious, especially this one. Jeez, like when I put this on, I am bronzed. They do have shimmer, they do have a sheen, so I use these just to like make me look like I'm on vacation. Trust me, when you swatch them, they're very warm. If you don't tan your face and you tan your body and you need something that's gonna like bring on the color without looking muddy or anything, try these Hourglass bronzers. They're baked so they don't look cakey, they just look like your skin. They just make you look like a beach goddess, and who doesn't want that, right? And last but not least for bronzers is this Marc Jacobs Tantric bronzer. I feel like this bronzer was just made for me. For some reason, every time I use this, you guys are like, yes, I love that bronzer on you, which is kind of rare. Like typically bronzer is just bronzer and everyone's just like whatever. In the pan, it just looks kind of light, but on the face, it brings on the warmth, which I love. You guys know I love me some orange bronzer. It may not be for everyone, but this is like MAC Give Me Sun, just muted down a little bit. If you feel like Give Me Sun is just way too orange for you, try this one. It's warm, but it's not like Oompa Loompa orange. It's just awesome. Tantric, love this. And this one, compared to another high-end one that I bought, this one takes the cake. This is kind of annoyingly large. I know you get more product and most people love compacts like this, but for me it's just like, where am I gonna store this? I feel like I don't use it as often as I wish I did because it's in a drawer rather than in my vanity, but I still use this a lot and I still love it. So Tantric by Marc Jacobs, it's awesome. Now let's talk about some blushes. This first one is Tom Ford Cheek Color in Frantic Pink. I'm gonna buy something that's a little more corally too to have in my collection, but if you're a freelance makeup artist, like, run out and buy these Tom Ford ones, especially if you do bridal, because these babies last all day. Like, it's insane. The pigment just stays on your face, and blush is like the first thing to go, honestly. Like, I pack on my blush just because I know in a couple hours it's gonna go away. Not with this one. You don't want to pack this on because it's very pigmented, but I just like how it makes it look healthy and glowy and just pretty. This one's a little too picky for my taste, but I do like it on like light makeup days because it just gives me that like natural baby skin like pink. But I just love this for the formula. It's so expensive, like so expensive, but you need a tap, like just boop, and that's it, because this stuff is pigmented and very long lasting. So Tom Ford Cheek Color. This one's a little more reasonable. This one's the Makeup Forever HD Blush in 225. This is my favorite color out of all of them. It's the most peachy, natural kind of color. You can use this with your beauty blender. You can use this with a brush. For a blush to make it in my favorites, it has to be super long lasting, and this cream formula is just bomb. I just love it. It just makes it look like your skin. It doesn't look like it's sitting in your skin, especially for summer. You don't want to look streaky or powdery or anything like that, or cakey, so cream blush is awesome. This blush makes me love cream blush. It's that good. Not all Sephora's carry this, which sucks. 225 is my favorite shade. And then quick little shout out to Illamasqua Lover. I actually got this because of Subby, and I just love this. It's a nice peachy color. I do like MAC peaches. This one is very similar. I love peach blushes on my kind of light tan, medium tan complexion. It's a great blush. It doesn't last as long as those other two, but it's still a great blush. Just because of the color, I just love it. It's perfect peach. I'm gonna have to order another one of these soon because it has a pretty big dent. I got this straight from the Illamasqua website. It's just a good matte peach blush. Now let's talk about eyebrows. Now, chances are if you watched any of my tutorials, you're gonna see either one of these products, which is the Hourglass Brow Sculpting Pencil, either in Soft Brunette or Warm Brunette, or the Anastasia Brow Wiz / Brow Definer. These are like my holy grail brow products. I also do really love the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade. It's also one of my holy grail, all-time favorite, worth your money kind of products. This Hourglass one is perfect for anyone who wants a fuller looking brow and who doesn't want an Instagram brow, who doesn't want a super sharp defined brow. This one just makes my eyebrows look really thick and full and like hairy. It has a triangle tip, kind of like the brow definer. At first this one's a little tricky because it's just really dry. Like when you first get it and you're using it, you're like, nothing is coming out, but I promise you it gets better. After like 1 or 2 uses, it starts getting really creamy. I just really like this. It's high end, it's pricey, definitely worth it, especially if you don't have much hair on your eyebrows and you want to make them look full. This is awesome. Or if you have really full eyebrows and you don't want to add too much product with like the Anastasia stuff, this one is bomb. But I absolutely love my Anastasia brow products. These are constantly being repurchased. Brow Wiz, Brow Definer, and Dip Brow Pomade. Worth the money. Don't have to say much about this. It's just worth the money. I love them. The Brow Wiz definitely runs the quickest out of all of them, but I still find myself repurchasing it because the tip is so fine, and I love how my brows look when I use these. So don't ask me to choose between them because that's really hard. I just love all three. For a liquid liner, you already know Tom Ford Eye Definer in Deeper. This has 2 tips. So you get this felt type longer side, and then you get this little short stubby side, which I don't really find myself using the short one. But the felt tip one is so foolproof. If you're having trouble doing liquid liner, try this. When it's super duper humid, or if I'm like crying, or I don't know, rubbing my eyes, it won't wear that nicely. Like, it's not waterproof by any means. For like regular days, I don't have a problem with this. I use this almost every single time I do my eyeliner, and my eyeliner never smudges. But like I said, if you cry or something and rub your eye, it will smudge because it's not waterproof. This just makes the wing so easy to create. So you could always use this and then do something on top that's like waterproof, or something a little stronger on top. But to create the wing, this is my favorite pen. I can definitely justify a high-end liquid liner, but that's because I use liquid liner pretty much every time I do my makeup, so love that stuff. Favorite high-end mascara is this Lancome Grandoise mascara. You get these little short like rubberized bristles, and it's curved, and I could just really get in there. My lower lashes look so long long when I use this. It's super duper black. It lasts me a really long time. I do like the Chanel Le Volume, but I feel like it just transfers a little bit too much. If I bake my under eyes, this one doesn't transfer on me. I just love it. It's a great mascara, and I'm definitely gonna purchase the new version of it because I'm super intrigued by it, so love it. Now let's talk about my favorite high-end concealers. First up, Tarte Shape Tape. This one's in light medium. This is probably one of my all-time favorite concealers ever. I know that's kind of crazy because it just came out, but ever since I got it, I'm just in love with it. It doesn't crease on me. It looks flawless. It just blends really nicely. I love how brightening it is. I love how full coverage it is. I hope they start carrying it at Sephora because it's so bomb. Right now I think they only carry it at Ulta and Tarte, their website, but I'm telling you, get on this. Next up is the Born This Way by Too Faced. This one is also in light medium. I like this one when I want a little bit less coverage and I still want that hydration. This one has coconut water infused in it, and it's just a great lightweight concealer. It also doesn't crease on me if I set it. I like this on days that I just don't want too much coverage. I know that sounds kind of weird, but if I'm just doing a light foundation or just powder foundation, I'll use this concealer because sometimes the Tarte Shape Tape can be too much coverage for those kind of days if you don't have dark circles. I hope that makes sense. Now, up there with the Tarte Shape Tape is the Urban Decay Naked Skin and the Makeup Forever Ultra HD. This one is in Y31 and the Urban Decay Naked is in Light Warm. I use the Makeup Forever one in my kit. It's just a great concealer that's not drying. It's very hydrating, and this one just looks great in pictures, and you just need a little bit and it really just blends out really nicely. The Urban Decay Naked Skin is a little bit drier, I would say, than the Makeup Forever because the Makeup Forever is super creamy, where this one blends out like a dream. Like, it just is so nice. I just feel like since it's not a liquid, when you first swipe it, it looks a little different, but blends it out. I love both of these. I feel like they both give me the same kind of coverage depending on how much I use of this. I feel like the Urban Decay and the Tarte are right up there, and then Makeup Forever is right under it with the Too Faced one. Like, they're all my all-time favorites because they're bomb and I use them on a daily. Let's talk about single shadows. Bobbi Brown makes one of the best eyeshadows, and I'm not talking about like the pans. I love Anastasia and Makeup Geek shadows, single shadows, but I'm talking about ones that come in like compacts. This one is in Toast. Obviously I use this a lot. This is my most used transition color. Blends out like a dream. It's just really good. Toast is just one of my favorite eyeshadows of all time because I can just throw this in my crease and I'm good to go. And I also love Camel. Camel is like Uninterrupted by MAC, but that one has been discontinued, so this is a great dupe, and I love the formula on these. They're just really creamy. They blend out nicely. My most used single compact shadows ever in general, so love them. And my next high-end eyeshadow that I think is worth your money is this NARS Galapagos eyeshadow. This stuff is so unique and so good. So it's a brown shadow that has a ton of gold reflex in it, but when you put this in your crease, it just deepens it up. Like, whenever I have a look and I'm like, it's not deep enough for me, this one is what I use. Whenever I want to smoke on my lower lash line and I don't know what to use, this is what I use. And I really want to pick up more NARS eyeshadows because this one is just delicioso. Love it. Galapagos by NARS. Get on it. So now let's dive into highlights. You guys know I'm quite the highlight junkie. If you've watched my highlight collection, you know I have a ton of highlights. So the first favorite that I think is worth your money are these Becca Shimmering Skin Perfectors. I have Champagne Pop here and Opal. I think I own all of the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfectors, but these are my favorites. Champagne Pop and Opal. Mixed together, they're beautifully. On their own, they're beautiful. Champagne Pop is in collaboration with Jaclyn Hill. You probably know that already, but this one is a great peachy, warm highlight, where Opal is just a little more universal. I feel any highlight I feel will emphasize texture, so you want to make sure you're on top of your skincare game. Highlight is basically emphasizing those bumps. It's like, hey, look at me. So I just make sure I really hydrate that area, and if you're really hydrated, if you're drinking a lot of water, if you're using a lot of hydrating masks, your highlight game will be crazy. This next highlight is for those who don't want that super wham bam highlight, those who just want a lit, radiance, soft, classy, elegant look. Not that highlight isn't classy or elegant, but you know what I'm saying. Sometimes it can look a little overboard. So this is perfect for brides. This is perfect for mature skin. This is the Hourglass Luminous Light Ambient Lighting Powder. If you're like an NC40 and up, I would recommend maybe getting another shade, but these powders are bomb. You can also set your entire face with this if you're you're dry or you're just looking for an all over glow. I like to focus this in like larger areas, so like all over the cheek, on the forehead, and it's just gonna give you a lip from within look. Literally, like not like a stark highlight. This product will not sit on top of the cheeks. It's actually gonna like melt in, and I love this. So Hourglass, it's expensive, but it's worth it if you're into that kind of look. If you're into that super reflective highlight, I wouldn't recommend this because it's not really gonna give you that unless you pack it on. I just love the ambient lighting powders, especially for weddings. Love it. The next product is super high end that I think is definitely worth the money. This is the Tom Ford Skin Illuminating Powder Duo in Mood Light. This is what I have on right now. This is also one of those products like the Becca and just like the Hourglass, it just makes you look lit. If you have a lot of texture, again, highlighting is going to emphasize it, but I find consistencies like this won't emphasize it as much, or just the bare minimum. You get this cream shade and like this more golden shade. I like to just swirl a big fan brush in both of them and just hit the cheeks, hit the forehead, hit the chin, hit the nose. Like, I just love this one because it just makes me look so youthful and glowy and like fresh. I love looking fresh faced, and this just gives me that. So love this. If I run out of it, I will repurchase it because I've been abusing it. Like, I forgot about it, and then once I discovered it again, I'm like, hello, it's Tom Ford. It was a lot of money, it was very expensive, so let's start using this. And then I started using it, I'm like, wow, like this is one of my favorite highlights ever. Why wasn't I using you? So love it. And last but not least for highlights is my favorite high-end gold highlight. So this is the Laura Geller Gilded Honey. This is a baked powder, so it never looks cakey on the skin. It never looks dry. If you build it up, it just looks so intense. But you can also use a light hand with this, and if you do a little fix plus on the brush with this, bomb. Especially on deeper skin, gold highlights, I die. Two high-end brushes that I think are absolutely worth your money. Tom Ford bronzer brush. It's almost offensive how expensive this is, but I love it. Like, I don't know, it's just something about this one that's just like, why do you have to be so expensive? It just hits the temples, you bronze in 5 seconds. It's so good. It blends the bronzer for you. Something like this is worth the investment if you are kind of heavy-handed with the bronzer like me, because you know, you don't want to look too overdone. Like, even if you overdo the bronzer with this one, it looks blended, so can't beat that. Love this one. Again, it's a Tom Ford bronzer brush. This one is soft, but this one is super duper soft. This one's from Marc Jacobs, and again, this one deposits the bronzer so beautifully, and it just blends it for you. It just gives you that airbrush look. I love this. I love it. It definitely hurt a little to buy these brushes, but now that I have them, I'm so happy that I splurged on them because they're definitely worth the money. So I'm gonna have a separate video talking about my favorite liquid lipsticks, but I just wanted to mention these two super high-end lip products that I think are worth your money. This is a Tom Ford lipstick in Blush Nude, which is what I have right now. The formula on this is insane. It lasts so long for a regular lipstick. I'm just sitting there like, how the hell did it last that long? Like, I will eat and it's still kind of there, and I'm just like, that's crazy, because liquid lipsticks are typically the lipsticks that I go to when I want something to last. But if I want a regular lipstick that looks creamy and luscious and juicy, I go for this one. It is insanely expensive, but there's just something about it that's just so worth it. The Tom Ford logo is embossed in the lipstick. It's just so luxurious. Not only does this look gorgeous on your vanity, coming out of your purse, but it performs. Like, this lipstick performs, and I just love it. I have this one, Blush Nude, and I also have Sable Smoke or Sable Sand, something like that, but Blush Nude is my favorite out of the two. This is the lip gloss that I've been abusing ever since I got it. This is just so glossy but not sticky, and the color is just divine. It has a little bit of sparkle, which I'm not really into, but on the lips you cannot see the sparkle. It just gives you intense shine, and I'm all about that, honey. I love that. I love the shine, but I don't like the stickiness of lip gloss. So typically, really shiny lip glosses like run, or they come out of the lips, or they just get all over. Like, no, this one is long lasting. For a lip gloss, I'm like, it's crazy, but it's good. Definitely look into these. They're worth it in my opinion. So now I'm going to speed through some palettes. First up, Tom Ford Eye Color Quads. I have Cocoa Mirage, which is this all matte palette, and then I have Nude Dip, which is an all shimmer palette. Nude Dip is great for brides. This is great for anyone who has a lot of like texture or like wrinkles in their eyelids, which I do have. This was worth the money because the texture on these is insane. Like, every time I wear these, people are like, what's on your lids? Because they're so buttery soft and they just look so good. I don't really use this like bronzy dark shade, but I totally should. But those first two light shades, I die. And then this one is newer to my collection, but Coco Mirage is just such a great neutral palette. I feel like white or cream shades are always patchy, but this one is so freaking pigmented. On the brow bone, it's insane. Like, this is such a great brow bone color. If you like matte white cream shades, it's worth the investment. I typically just use these three. I have a whole tutorial using this palette, and you guys really love that look. So for me, these are worth the money because I don't have to use that much product in order to get a lot of payoff. So definitely worth the investment. I love Tom Ford eyeshadows. Now I have an addiction. I want to buy all of the quads. I think these are like $60 or $80 a pop, which is kind of crazy, but if you do the math, it's not that expensive per shadow, but it still is expensive. So love the compact, but love the product that's inside of it, most importantly. Another palette worth the money or worth the investment, worth the splurge, is this Viseart neutral matte palette. At first you're like, wow, that is so expensive, but then if you divide it by how many colors you're getting, it's really not that pricey. You get cool tones, you get warm tones, you get a nice white shade, you get a nice peachy shade, a black, which I love the black in this. I just love all of them. I really especially think this is worth the investment for any makeup artist. Like, seriously, pause this video and go get this because you can use this so many different ways. You can use this on the brows, you can use this on the eyes, you can use it only on the eyes, just this palette, or you can use another shimmery shade with these colors. Like, honestly, it's so good. Just wish I would have picked this up way sooner. So Viseart, whatever, neutral matte palette, it's good. I hope this product wasn't limited edition, but the Too Faced Stardust palette by Vegas Nay, this is such a great high-end palette because you can travel with this. Just bring this with you and be good. You get a gold, you get a pink, you get a champagne, you get a bronze, you get a nice cream matte, a nice transition color, a dark deep matte brown, what, a black. Like, this is such a great palette if you're just looking for one palette that has it all. Like, this is it. I feel like you get shimmers, mattes, like, you can't really beat this one. I hope it wasn't limited edition, but this is like my most used travel friendly palette. It's nice and flat, perfect to travel with, and I definitely think it's worth the money, definitely worth the splurge, because you can bring this in your purse, it's not gonna break, and you have everything that you will ever need in this palette. Next up are the Kat Von D Shade Light Eye and Contour Palette. This is my favorite contour palette. I get this question a lot. I've already repurchased this 2 times. You get this awesome banana shade, which I'm obsessed with. I cannot wait till she comes out with the refillables, because I went through the whole yellow in one of these Kat Von D palettes. It's that good. The yellow in this is just insane. Like, it's not patchy, it's not dry. I think this is definitely worth the investment because you get highlighting shades, you get contouring shades, you get a bronzing shade, and you get a little peachiness, which is good for color correcting. You could even use these as eyeshadows, like this on the brow bone and these in the crease. What? You are good to go. So love this palette, definitely worth the investment. This is a new one. A lot of people have found my channel through the Anastasia contour video, which I feel like was the first contour palette to ever come out, but this is my favorite, hands down. This is my most used contour palette, and I love it. And this Shade Light eye palette is also so good. These are all matte shades. You get light, you get dark, you get medium, you get cool, you get warm. I feel like it's not as creamy as the Viseart one, but it's up there. Like, this peachy shade is one of my most used colors in a palette, so I always open this one up and use this one if I feel like I'm losing warmth in my eye look. The black in this is also one of my favorites. It's so black, and the white. Like, I just love this. It's good. To me, this is definitely worth the investment because you can do so many different looks with this. You can use it with other palettes, you can use it on its own. So this palette is definitely worth the investment. And last but not least, for eyeshadows are my Makeup Forever eyeshadows. Take a moment when you're in Sephora to kneel down and start swatching these Makeup Forever eyeshadows. You are going to fall in love. They're pricey, but they're gigantic. This is a Makeup Forever palette, by the way. I love them. Like, they're so good. I love the mattes and the shimmers, which for me is really hard for me to find a brand that I like their mattes and their shimmers equally. Like, I like the mattes in this even better than the Kat Von D. It's up there with Viseart. I love the matte shades. I love the array of selection of colors, and I love that you customize your own palette, because so many times I get a palette and I'm just like, I invested all this money but I only use 2 shades, so that doesn't make it worth the money. I think single shadows are so worth the money, so worth the splurge, because you're customizing your own palette. You know what you're gonna use, so you get to pick the colors you're gonna use. So obviously I pick shimmer shades, warm shades, reddish shades, orangey shades. Love Makeup Forever, love their eyeshadows. Their quality is insane, out of this world. These shadows are pigment heaven. You need to try them if you haven't. Definitely worth the money. So that wraps up my favorite high-end products. I personally have this obsession with buying high-end makeup so that I can go and tell you guys what's worth it and what's not. I will have another video after this on high-end products that I either regret buying or they're just disappointing, so definitely look out for that. I think that one's gonna be super duper helpful, but I hope you found this one helpful. Like, these are products that I love. Let me know what are some of your favorite luxury high-end products, like products that really hurt your wallet but that you absolutely love, because I would love to try them out. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.